Hello everyone, today I'm posting solution to question number 8 from Euclid math competition, math contest that run by University of Waterloo. This is question from year 1998, and we talked about math competitions, right? There are a few of them in Canada, and University of Waterloo run few of them as well for different grades, starting from grade 5 actually to grade 12, and some of them are pretty straightforward and easy, where you just need to find numerical solutions, and some of them, like this one, you need to do proof. So there are no calculations here, we need to prove things. Okay, let's do it. In the graph, the parabola y equals to x squared has been translated to the position shown on the graph. Prove that d times e equals to f. Okay, so it shouldn't be a hard question. So what we do here, we write equation equation of a parabola, function of a parabola in the form of two factors, right? So because we have x-intercepts, negative d and e, so we can write as x plus d and x minus e, right? And then we're going to use y-intercept, which equals to 0 minus negative f. We're going to use this point, we're going to substitute this point into our equation, and we get negative f equals to 0 plus d times 0 minus e. So what we get, negative f equals to d times negative e, or we can cancel negative signs, f equals to d times e. Done. Okay, so now next question, part B. Lateral KWAD, the midpoints of KW and AD are M and N respectively. If length of MN equals to half of the sum of the lengths of AW and DK, prove that WA is parallel to KD. Right, so this is the length. It equals to half of the sum of WA of this side, length of this side, plus length of this side. So half of the sum will be equal to MN. Okay, so we're dealing with distances here, so it means we need to assign coordinates to our points. So K will be 0, 0, right? It starts at the origin. D will be 2A, 0. Then W will be 2B, 2C. I'm choosing coefficient 2 because when we're gonna find midpoint, right, they will be cancelled because we'll have to divide by 2. So I'm trying to avoid fractions right here. And A equals to 2D, 2E. Okay, so what are coordinates of M? M will be, so half midpoint, to find midpoint, so 2B plus 0 over 2, and 2C plus 0 over 2. So it follows that coordinates of M are B and C. For point N, applying same logic, so it will be 2A plus 2D over 2 and 0 plus 2E over 2, right? So it will be A plus D and E. Okay, so we have our midpoints. So now let's try to calculate distances, right? So what's the idea, right? So we know from here, right, because K and D have y coordinates 0, both of them have coordinates 0, it means that slope of KD is 0, right? Slope of KD equals to 0, right? Because how do we calculate slope? It's rise over run, so it's 0 minus 0 over 2a minus 0, so equals to 0. So slope of KD is 0. So what we need to prove that slope of WA is 0 as well. So basically what we need to prove that C equals to E, right? So if C equals to E, it means that slope of WA is 0 as well. And if two lines have same slope, they are parallel. Okay, so let's try to do it. So to do it, we're going to use our formula that we are given and derive and try to come to this conclusion, to this proof. Okay, so what's the length of MN? MN, so we're going to use Pythagoras theorem, right? So I hope you guys let me, write a distance of a line, distance equals to square root of x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 squared. So this is our formula for distance, right? And we're going to use it. Okay, MN equals to square root of A plus D minus B, right? Our x coordinates of points, right here, squared plus E minus C squared. Okay, so we're gonna leave it for now, and now we need to do right side, right, of the equation. Right side of the equation is half, right, half AW okay, I'm continuing. So this is let's continue. So this will be left hand side, right? Because we're going to have lengthy formula. I just want to put this put some indication so we don't get lost. So now let's find right hand side of this equation. Right hand side is half. When I say this equation, I mean this equation, right? That given our in the equation. So it's half AW. AW will get to it right away. But what is DK? DK is very easy to calculate, right? Because it's just 2A, right? 2A. So 2A and AW, because we're not clean here, right? So we have coordinates there. So we're going to use Pythagoras theorem for, formula for distance. It will be 2D minus 2B squared plus 2E minus 2C squared. Now, if we manipulate this equation, so we will get to this form 2, and here we have d minus b squared plus e minus c squared. Okay, and in brackets here. Okay, so how did I get to this formula? Let's see the expansion. So how we can how we got from this form to this form. Okay, so it's lengthy but simple problem. So we use this identity: square of difference equals to a square minus 2ab plus b square. Okay, so we expand each term, right, using this identity. So we get 4d squared minus 8db plus 4b squared right here. And for the second term, we when we expand, we get 4e squared minus 8ec plus 4c squared. Then we see that 4 is common factor, right, in each term. 4, 4, 4, 4. So we take it out, right? We take it out, and then we do we take it outside the radical of square root, right? So it will be right here, right? And then we have half in front of the brackets, so we can cancel these coefficients. So at the end we get this a plus square root of d minus b plus d minus b squared plus e minus c squared, right? Okay, now let's go back. So this equation will be equal, the expression we cancel 2's, right? So it will be a plus square root of d minus b squared plus e minus c squared, right? And this is our right hand side of the given equation. Okay, so how to continue, right? So we have two sides of the equation. So right hand side equals square root of a plus d minus b plus squared plus e minus c squared. And on the right hand side we have a plus square root of d minus b squared plus e minus c squared. And just I'm going to write the original formula that was given in the question. Mn equals half distance length of Mn equals to half AW plus KD, right? So those are lengths. So and this is the original formula, and we wrote it in coordinate form. Okay, so what we do, we square both sides, right? So we want to get rid of square root on the right. So we square both sides. On the right hand side we have a squared plus 2a square root of d minus b squared plus e minus c squared, and plus third term, right? We do expansion, square of sums, and that expression under square root becomes just d minus b squared plus e minus c squared. Okay, what we see on both sides, e minus c squared can be cancelled, right? Which is good, and this is what we left with. So next step will be, what can we do here? I think to expand a plus d minus b squared, right? But let's group those terms together. So I think it will be good to group d minus b, right? Why? Because on the right hand side we have that last term, d minus b squared, so at the end we can get rid of this term as well. So let's expand. So a squared plus 2a times d minus b plus d minus b squared equals to a squared plus 2a square root of d minus b squared plus e minus c squared, and we have third term d minus b squared. Okay, and we cancel them, right? We cancel this term, we can do more, we can cancel a squared as well on both sides, and more than that, we can get rid of a coefficient 2a, right? 2a, we can cancel it. Okay, so now we have d minus b on the left hand side equals to square root of d minus b squared plus e minus c squared, right, on the radical sign. Okay, again we have square root, right, so we want to get rid of it. We're gonna square both sides again. D minus b squared equals to d minus b squared plus e minus c squared. Okay, and d minus b squared can be cancelled, right, on both sides, and we're left with a very simple form. 0 equals to e minus c squared, and when this expression can be equal to 0, only in one case, when e equals to c. That's it. We proved that e equals to c, and if e equals to c, it means that WA is parallel, right? So let me write down coordinates of those points. Coordinates of A are 2D and 2E. Coordinates of W, point W, are 2B and 2C, right? And slope of AW equals to 2c minus 2e over 2b minus 2d. Yeah, 2b minus 2d. Okay, and because c equals to e, it means that numerator equals to 0 and slope equals to 0. And it follows that AW parallel to KD. That's it. We're done. Don't forget to subscribe to YouTube channel, Facebook page, Flying Minds, for daily questions, daily challenges. My name is Zor, and I'll see you guys around.